Hello, everybody. My name is Dr. Cheryl Meier, and I am a psychologist in my day job, and a YouTuber, I guess, is my profession. I guess, anyway, I won't go into it. I help people navigate their spiritual awakening, and I look at all of life as a spiritual awakening. And today, what was coming to me, because I listened to my intuition, and I teach people how to listen to their own intuition, was something good, right? And it comes from a song, because I always get songs. It's amazing how when you quiet your mind, and this is a practice, right? This is why I teach this stuff. This is why I take the time. Look at this, look at these giant leaves next to my boots. Look how big they are, right? Something good right there. Is because these are skills. These are skills you can acquire and learn. I just put up a video on YouTube, and I put this on all my social media. But if it goes after 15 minutes, for sure, go to YouTube and subscribe to me there so you can see the rest. I just put a video up about this thing called introspection and examine, because it said when you do it every day, it accelerates your spiritual growth by a lot. And it's not to chase after consolations and stuff like that. Chase after, you're trying to micromanage and control your spiritual awakening. And let me just sit on the ground. It's been raining, so it's not like you're trying to control that. It's just more like, look, if I want to be a good guitarist and I play once a week, I'm not going to get that far on my guitar, but I will. That's what I have been doing, and I've learned what you guys have seen, if you've seen any of my singing and stuff. And I aim to practice 3 hours a week, but professional people do like 4 hours a day. I know pianists. I know these kids that were playing Rachmaninoff when they were like 11 years old, and they were amazing, but their parents would have them practice 3 hours a day. And so let's go back to something good. All right. So we're facing cancer right now of some kind. I won't be really specific, because I don't know if this person that we'll just say is in my care, like if it's meant to be public yet, because it's someone else's medical information. So I'm so cautious, because I learned as a psychologist to be very confidential about people's information. Sometimes I'm over confidential, but sometimes because I'm so open, I'll just be open about other people's, and they don't want me to be yet. So I want to get this clarified from this person first. So I'm taking a moment. So I invite you to take a moment to always be present. Notice where you are. Sit on the ground, put your feet on the ground wherever you are. You don't have to be the ground, but, and then I look up at the trees a lot, and I just watch the leaves. The wind going in the leaves calms me down for some reason. It just reminds me that we are souls here. We're not, Teilhard de Chardin says, we're not physical beings having a spiritual experience. We're spiritual beings having a physical experience. And so the wind always just reminds me, no, be present. There's a bigger reality going on here. This is why I can tell you, as we're facing this. And so let me just share so that you can know for your own life, right? Our egotism. One person, I forgot his name now. David something Lees, of the Wu Wei wisdom. I love how he condenses it for us, right? So I'm going to borrow from him and direct you to him, and I'm not saying I agree with everything he comes up with, but I love this, and truth is truth. I love this part where he says the egotism, and Eckhart Tolle says the same thing, the guy that wrote The Power of Now. Always feels like, it goes into these 3 CCJ, that's what he calls it, where you criticize yourself or you criticize other people, because you feel more important when you can criticize other people. You criticize, judge is the J, criticize, maybe control. I can't remember the other one. It'll come to me, but compare. It's compare. You do try to control too. Your egotism always wants to control everything. And so when something faces your life that's out of your control, that seems out of your control, that is out of your control, then your egotism freaks out and goes into like trying to judge people or trying to compare yourself to other people. And but besides the CCJ, the one thing he talks about that I wanted to come in with something good, right, is that we look at that, something good right there. There's the sun. Like, I got to look at the ocean on our whole drive to the doctor's office today, and on the way back, the ocean was just on my side because it's on my side because I'm in California. But I was just in Colorado the other day, and at this silent retreat that I went to get the world out of my mind, to get quiet, because I was directed by my intuition or in prayer to go there. Not that I'm holier. You'll see, because we'll talk about it, right? I was noticing that this is a good thing. The sun is shining on us. No matter how bad we've been in our lives, quote, bad or good, or how we see, compare, criticize, or judge, right? So know that. I use this cross as an example a lot. It's a Celtic cross, right? We come from this oneness, right? From the heart of God, and God is divine love. So I welcome all religions, so don't be put off, right? Because the same creator created all of us, whether you believe there's a creator or not. You know, if there is one, we all came from that. And the way I experience God, not in every moment, but in my knowing, is that God is love. God is the divine love. God is this not conditional love, not transactional love. God is this oneness, right? And so we come from the oneness, and and I say this all the time, but it's worth repeating, right? And we come down into this duality, and so we experience good and bad and up and down and fast and slow and injury and health and asleepness and awakeness, consciousness. We can get into higher and higher consciousness, and that's a kind of approach back to the oneness as you raise your consciousness back up. This is like connected to the heavens. This is connected to the earth. This is our horizontal relationship with other people, and coming back to the oneness brings you back to this true love, right? That we all crave and remember. I think we have a soul remembrance of this in our hearts, and that's why we're so idealistic sometimes, even when we haven't figured out how to let go of the patterns from our childhood. So we keep going back to toxic people or toxic situations, if you want to call it like that, or relationships, or relate in those same ways. We have this remembrance of love. Plato says there's these ideals of the perfect or something that we all get from heaven. So we know those. And then when things don't turn out that way, we're just like, I don't understand. This doesn't compute. And so what I was going to say with but this is a grace. This is like grace. This is like the love of God, that this sun shines on us always, no matter what we've done. It shines on, even if I was a bad person, it's like that same sun is shining on my crops, let's say, if I was a farmer, right? And so sometimes people think they're getting away with doing evil, but there's a law of cause and effect on this earth, and so we won't do so, but it looks like it in the moment. But nevertheless, like, the sun is still shining on us. So even if we've been the worst or something, right? This is what I'm bringing up, okay, is when the other thing that David Leese, I think is Dr. David Leese, brings up, I'm not sure if he's a doctor, but he works as a therapist in England, but brings up, is that we always think we're either unworthy, we're unworthy of love, or not enough, or we can't cope. And so this has helped me so much, just even with all of, like, I got 9 years of schooling, undergrad and graduate school, and then 20 years I've been working as a psychologist, right? even after all of that, I love learning, and it's so good. These pile upon pile, like layer upon layer, they help you out as you memorize these things, and I try to condense it for us. And so if you remember this, your egotism is in this limited earthly realm, but part of you is a soul. You are a soul, you're in this body. And so you can have the soul's remembrance and the soul's knowing, and the knowing that that you are more than this body, and you are more than what's happening in your everyday circumstances. But part of you can, in the comparison and in the feeling like I'm not enough, and in the feeling like I'm unworthy, or that I have to prove myself, and all this stuff that we learn from childhood and in our society, right? When something like this, when something like cancer happens, or something bad, you quote bad happens, it looks like a problem in our life, you start looking back and you ask God, or if you're facing death, like the man next to Christ on the cross facing death, you're asking, what did I do? If I did anything to cause this in this person, if I did anything wrong or bad, or anything unloving, anything that was not of high consciousness, anything that is not of love, of highest love. I was reflecting on the way back here. I was driving for a long time, and I was like, wow, every time I come to a higher level of consciousness, a higher level of knowing, of understanding who the divine is, and how little my love is in comparison with that love, it feels like I've never done anything good, right? But I learned at the silent retreat, because I was directed once a day for an hour. And they were teaching me, the person was teaching me, right? Person learned on this path, let's just say, path of divine love, was like, just let it go. Set it down on this table so that God can give you, divine love can give you more good. Just set it down on the table. You can pick it back up, whatever it is, instead of calling it bad or whatever, but just set it down, let it go for now, so that God can give you the better, the more, the magis, M-A-G-I-S. Is how they wrote it, but I think in Greek it's M-A-G-U-S, which is great, but anyway, always be present. Be present with this deeper essence of yourself, this deeper knowing of yourself, this higher love that's above all of this, right? And so I was thinking, what came to me, this part from The Sound of Music, the Von Trapp family from Austria, that we would always fast forward this part as kids, because it was like the boring part where Maria Von Trapp and Captain Von Trapp fall in love, they're singing this song, but sometimes we just wouldn't get up and fast forward, right? Because it used to be, we'd have to get up, I think. Yeah, I think it was before remotes or something, but it was like, I must have done something good. Nothing comes from nothing, nothing ever could. So somewhere in my youth or childhood, I must have done something good, right? Because they can't believe they get to love each other, and they can't believe how beautiful that is, and that out of all the odds and all the circumstances that had happened in both of their lives, they got to be with each other in the movie, And so this, in the praying for health of this person that's in my care that I love so dearly, I'm just like, it's just a natural purification process. I can know in my head that the egotism always thinks we're in lack, but I can still, it makes me pray and cry and just say, whatever this person has done, whatever I have done, clean it all out, purify all of it. You be the good. God is good. The word good comes from God, like goodbye, God by. Dios in Spanish is Dios is God, Dieu is God, and so you're saying go with God, vaya con Dios, go on your road with God. I wish you everything good, and know that the good that we came from, that we are made out of love, wants to make you good and wants to purify you, just wants to make you more highly loving and highly conscious. And so I encourage you on this path. Encourage is to infuse with courage, to take from the divine, to ask from the divine. Don't be ashamed. Don't be stuck in the lack from our childhood. Don't be ashamed to ask from the divine. Make me truly good. Make me whole. The word shalom means whole, means wholeness, you know? And when Jesus says, the peace, the shalom, the shalomness that I give you, the wholeness that I give you is not the shalomness of this world. You know, it's not the peace that this world gives. It's this peace beyond understanding, beyond the understanding of what's going on and barraging your face and your life and your circumstances and your bank account. You know, I heard that song, I Ain't Worried About It Right Now. I was in a separate car as the other person, let's say, driving this person in our care, and I got the intuition to listen to that song, and I made a skating video about it about a year ago or half a year ago, right? You know, half a year ago, when I was skateboarding. So if you want to go look on my Instagram, it's there. But I am worried about it right now, right? Anyway, and so I didn't say anything about it, and I heard this other person in the waiting room start whistling the song, and I'm like, what? Because I got in my intuition and I was praying to listen to that song. I'm like, why? I'm praying. I don't want to listen to a song, but I listened to it. I think I listened to it twice. And then that person was whistling it, right? Anyway, there's something so much bigger and more beautiful than what we see with our own eyes. And when you surrender up to that and rest in that, then you keep seeing the good in everyone. You see the God in everyone, because everyone was made out of that, of soul stuff, of love stuff. And it just makes everything so much better. I wish you love. Subscribe, comment, share.